Coming into the NBA, Zion was the second heaviest player recorded. That was only second to Boban. Boban's like 17 foot tall, and he was 5 pounds less than Boban. But there is a new clause in his contract, as many of us have seen, that if Zion goes over a certain weight, he's going to lose a lot of bread. So there are some pictures circulating, and there's a lot of video of him playing and dunking. I think he's going to be an absolute scare this year. He's going to be a bucket, probably an MVP candidate, but can he keep that weight off, or is he now getting too skinny? We've seen so many injuries with this guy. He's only played 85 games, and it's been 3 years. I love Zion. This is a guy who came out of college being the next Russell Westbrook. Many of us Laker fans who don't even want Westbrook in there, just remember a couple years ago, he was that dude. And they said he was just as explosive as Westbrook and dunked like LeBron. But he's got to keep this weight off, and he's getting too skinny, going to hurt him. We're dissecting that, and we're also going to be discussing if the Pelicans are one of the favorites in the West. I am your NBA white guy. I talk all things NBA hoops from a hooper's perspective. And if you like that kind of content, then make sure you're tapping that subscribe button and you click the bell so you're notified every time I do a new video. Zion Williamson has had a plethora of injuries, which is the saddest thing to see with any kind of star player. Many of these players, they never shake it. You look at Greg Oden, you look at some of these players that their entire career has been injury ridden. Zion's number one issue since coming in has not been his skill. It's been his weight. This is something that is just causing him too many injuries. This is a guy who came into the league and at 18 years old coming out of Duke was 285 pounds, second to only Boban. We saw him later on during injuries go over 300 plus pounds. I can't even believe he can still get up and put his head above the rim. But the dude is an absolute freak of nature athlete. We all know that. But is this weight thing really going to get to him? And with the clauses that we've seen in his contract where he goes over a certain weight of 285 pounds, he's going to be losing tons of money, going to cause him further injuries down the road. Before we really talk about some of the weight and where he's at currently right now, we got to dissect Zion because this dude has been getting slept on and forgotten for so long. This is a guy who came into the league with just as much, almost as much pressure as LeBron James. He was on the cover of Slam magazine where they said he was just as explosive as Russell Westbrook. Yeah, Laker fans. That's what Westbrook used to be talked about. And he could dunk like LeBron. This was the next big thing. I think everybody was watching this dude as he was a high schooler down in South Carolina play kids that were like 90 pounds and dunking on him. But it was when he went to Duke and just absolutely ripped the rim down. Him and RJ Barrett were incredible players, and they were so good that Cam Reddish, he was out of the limelight. But Zion, he turned heads immediately, coming into the rookie year, ripping balls out of just grown-ass man's hands, and his rookie season was ended quickly due to injury. Now, his sophomore year, we'll talk about later and just how good he was. But again, this is a player that came in with such hyped potential, and he's also a dude who was so big that LSU offered him a full-ride scholarship for football. Ed Ogeron and the coaches there said this guy would be the best tight end that football's ever seen. I don't doubt it. Besides, I think LeBron would be a better football player. But let's also talk about what is really motivating Zion. Number one, the dude loves hoops. If you actually are a basketball player and you watch him and it's beyond the dunks and it's beyond the play in there, he loves hoops. He's just one of those guys, just like Kevin Durant. Give him a ball, let him play. All last season, year 3, there was so many of these videos and threats of him just wanting to play, and I get it. And the Pelicans are like, look, we're not title contenders this year. Next year we can be. Stay healthy. But this guy's a true bona fide hooper. This could go down to hurt him even more though, because I remember playing a lot of basketball through high school, through college, rolling ankles, getting hurt, and you just go right back out and play. It can really shorten a career. And when you're pushing the scale of 300 pounds and during games you're blowing out your shoe, that kind of pressure on the knees and the joints and the ankles can cause career-ending injuries. Now, the new contract says that he has to maintain a weight of 285 pounds or less, and you may think, dude, he's an NBA player. He's rich. He's worth millions. How does he just not have a chef? I like to give you Hooper's perspective, and I remember going into college and playing with guys, and I grew up in a family where we had home-cooked meals. We talked about health a lot, and not that we were like perfectly healthy, but when I went in and played and got with these college dudes, literally they ate out 3, 4, 5 times a day. We would go to McDonald's or we would go to, some kind of fast food restaurant, and they would order 7 meals. It's just what they were raised on, and I could not believe it. In fact, the only home cooking I ever saw him make, my boy Don, if you're watching, he made Alfredo one time with 5 jars of Alfredo sauce. So I love my homies from college, and after college happened, a little bit of blow up happened. So these dudes aren't taught nutrition, and when your whole life is just, fast food, we saw it with Zion. This is a professional athlete at the peak ability to be able to jump and be explosive, and he could not keep the weight off. 300 plus pounds. You all saw that commercial when he was sitting on the couch playing video games. I think it was a Mountain Dew or a Doritos commercial. He was massive. This is something that's going to really be hard for him. You can't just change these things overnight. But there are a lot of posts of him coming out and looking healthy, looking way under that 285 mark. And the biggest chip that he has on his shoulder, period? Anthony Davis never signed an autograph for him. And where's Zion playing right now? In New Orleans. Who got traded? Anthony Davis. Those picks are what the Pelicans were able to land Zion. He's coming after him. He's coming after the whole league. And again, he's a hooper. So all he wants to do is play. And my favorite thing about watching him is his love and passion for his teammates. So this is what makes an incredible all-star player, is when you are not selfish. You can play off the ball, you can play on the ball, and you just want to win. Now, if we actually take a look at that Instagram post that he did the other day, you can see your boy slimming down. So what do you guys think right now? I want you guys to vote. Do you think that Zion can finish in the top 5 of MVP candidates if he's healthy this year? I think if he stays healthy, plays at least 75 games, he will be, if not the MVP, top 3. Guaranteed. Because if you look at his sophomore stats, which was his second year, he played about 50 games. He was averaging almost 28, 7, and 4, 62% shooting. Unbelievable stats. Now, I'm not a big stat guy. I'm a hooper guy. I love watching the game. This is what I saw in the game that is different from everybody else. This is a guy who actually played point guard at 6'7", 290 pounds. He was bringing the ball up, which now he won't be doing. I'll guarantee that. They traded for CJ McCollum. That was the best trade I've seen. I'm a big Portland Blazers fan, Dame time, CJ, but it just wasn't working there. You can tell that CJ now is completely remotivated because he's on that new team. He's got Ingram. Valanciunas had a career year last year. This is going to take some of the pressure off of Zion. And what can you do with a guy like Zion? You can give him the first pass, right? CJ can bring that ball up and the first pass goes to Zion. And what this does is it allows him to be one-on-one, at least for a fraction of a second. The problem with Zion running point guard being, again, that heavy, he's going to be coming up. He's going to have all the eyeballs on him and he can see double teams right away. That can really cause a lot of, just damage on the body. Driving through, we know he wants to put his head down. LeBron's made an entire career on this, but obviously Zion is way more injury prone than LeBron is. But this is a guy that you can bring around screens, you can move in the motion, and you can actually get him that first pass and let him go to the hoop with only one defender. Now, he's going to go down there and he's going to meet a center, but when you got Valanciunas coming off a career year, he can kick it to him. But the other thing that Zion can do is now with movement, and you've got Ingram, you got to watch him. You got McCollum, who can shoot from anywhere. You've got Valanciunas. You got these guys that are stretching defenses. You cannot double on Zion, so he's going to be able to cut a lot more when CJ goes to the rack, when Ingram goes to the rack, and boy, we are going to see some finishes this year. He's going to be rocking that rim. I think they have the potential to be a top 4 seed in the entire West. Now, there are some great teams in the West. I get it. Clippers are coming up. We all think the Lakers are going to be there. I'm a massive Lakers fan. Just get them to the playoffs, and that's where I think a team like Lakers could beat the Pelicans. I don't care about, the regular season rankings. I'm talking postseason, but right now, as for just regular season, they are young, they are hungry, and those are the type of teams that can rip off 55 to 65 wins. Now, they may not be as, scary in the postseason because they just don't have that presence besides McCollum. McCollum's gone deep a few times, but I'm telling you right now, this team could easily, again, you vote down below. What do you think? All health is there. The Pelicans can finish in the Western Conference this season. I think they could go top 4 just regular season. Now, going beyond that is a whole different story. The next thing that you may see with Zion is they're going to run him as a center. They're going to run him at the 5 in small ball situations where they can have Ingram, they can have McCollum, they can run the entire offense through them. That's going to leave massive gaps and holes for him to slash, him being Zion, to go to the cup. But here is the thing. The number one way that the Pelicans are going to be viable and win is if Zion continues to work on shooting. Now, his shot, I'm telling you right now, it's broke. Just the look of it. So, yes, I saw him knock down some threes. Yes, he shot 62%, but a lot of that was within, 3, 4, 5 feet of the rim. That's where he needs to be. But if he can develop some kind of shot, the problem with him, if you watch his shot, he never follows through all the way, right? It's always a snake bite. He's got that real short touch. He's so strong. The dude is country strong, and he flicks that ball, and so he's never going to have that accuracy that you see in a player that does a full extension. Now, if you guys are hoopers out there, you know what I'm talking about. But these are where you can get serious inconsistency. So during the regular season or just normal games, you may get hot. You may knock down a couple threes and feel good. But when the pressure's on and you really have to rely on that shot, you know that you're not a 35, 40% three-point shooter like Zion. You're more like a 20%. It's going to start weighing in here. So you can't ever really get that during reps in practice. You've got to go up and start having confidence in games. Stretch that defense out. Start knocking down some jumpers from 19, 20 footers. And if you can hit some threes, that's the confidence that Zion needs. It's over. If this dude gets some kind of jump shot and three-point shot, you see it with Giannis a lot. Giannis is shooting that a lot more. He's trying to get that confidence up. He is knocking down some of those shots. And if he airballs, he don't care. He comes right back down the next play and shoots it again, and he'll knock it down. So these are things that you have to notice with these all-star players is it's right here. We know within 5 feet, Zion's probably the best finisher in the game, pound for pound, because there's nobody that weighs as much as him, but there's nobody that can stop him. I don't care, but that's going to cause a lot of injuries, pain, and see him missing a lot of games. So we got to get him off the ball and knocking down some of these shots. Now, if he starts getting people off their feet and he can go around them, again, watch out. There's going to be posters sold across America, across the world. And I also did a top 10 video of the scariest players coming out. I just released it a little while ago. None of you guys watched it, and I have Zion as the #1 scariest player coming off of injury this year. What's your thought? Who will be the best player coming off of injury or a lackluster season? Is it Anthony Davis? Is it Ben Simmons? Is it Jaren Jackson? Is it Harden? Or is it Zion? You guys vote down below in the comments. I am your NBA white guy. I talk all things NBA hoops from a hooper's perspective. And if you like that content, make sure you're tapping that subscribe button and you click the bell so you're notified every time I do a new video. And until my next video, homies, we'll catch you later.